Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
Right, hello and welcome to the first episode of the Just Discourse podcast for myself, Max Smith, and the lovely Matt Della Harpe.
The lovely incarnate.
Exactly. Well, we talk about all sorts of things that's on our minds, mostly business and health, and sometimes we delve into a little bit of politics. We try to avoid that because we don't know what we're talking about.
No, absolutely not. Well, this is the thing. You can have as much indelible highbrow commentary that you could possibly want. Just got to remember that we don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Especially, like most people, especially when it comes to politics. So
Absolutely. No.
we'll avoid that where we can, but sometimes you can't help but get a little political.
Indeed, sir. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yes, good. Yeah, no, I'm glad we've got the new setup going.
I know, it's good.
It's looking good in here.
Well, you're saying new setup. We've got the setup.
We've got a setup. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
It's the first proper attempt at doing this together, so there we go.
Yeah. We've chucked a few things together,
Yeah.
and I hope it looks. Well, I think it looks good as long as it.
See, I think it looks good. See, what people need to know is that these two rugs here. We turn them around, one of them around initially, and now they are identical rugs, but just because of how the weave and the brush works, it really annoyed Max because one came out a slightly lighter shade,
Yes.
and you were going very purple. Just
I couldn't deal with that. It was winding me up too much. You thought it'd be okay, but after
I didn't give a shit. I'm not looking at the ground. I'm looking at you. It's
4 or
fine.
5 times, it was.
Yeah.
I couldn't have that, unfortunately.
Well, that's fine. How is this angle for like chairs and stuff? Because it's very slightly off, which I like because it's not like dead on,
Exactly. I think it'd be a bit awkward if we were looking,
right into each other's eyes.
dead into each other's eyes.
Well, I mean, I am right now, but that's out of
Yeah.
choice, not because I have to.
Exactly. But I mean, so what have you done this week, which sort of has helped you, helped you in life, Emma?
This week, so excuse me. So me and the band have been networking a little bit more. So we had the event we went to on Saturday. While it was a birthday celebration, speaking to some very interesting people just about venues and places like that and other things we've got going forward. Booking in rehearsals. We obviously have our gig on the 8th, which you're coming to as well.
I'll be on that, don't you
Which
worry,
was
mate.
last time was so good, so we got to do that again.
You're going to give it a little plug?
Oh yeah, I'm the drummer from the Midnight Specials. Check us out on Instagram as the Midnight Specials Band, not to be confused or mistaken for the other Midnight Specials, because there's so many of them. Same thing on TikTok as well. Come find us all around, YouTube and Facebook. The same sort of thing for the branding there as well.
Beautiful. And where are you playing?
We're playing at the Kilburn Arms in Kilburn in London, surprisingly, which will be the 8th at 8:30 p.m. So come down, come say hi. It's going to be great. Last time, Max saw us last time, so how was it, mate?
Well, it's packed. I'd go into a pub. I just thought I wasn't sure what the vibe was going to be, but I think it was shoulder to shoulder.
It was nuts.
No one.
From where I was sat,
basically, which was
yeah,
good for you guys, and it was good for everybody involved, like the crowd as well.
Well, I literally couldn't see the bar from where I was sat. Do you want to put your phone on silent?
Yes.
What's etiquette, my friend?
That's
What's
the
going on?
First rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
Break. We'll probably break a few more. But
Yeah,
there you go.
that's
Get
right.
Down now.
You'll fail forward. What about yourself, mate? How's your week been?
Yeah, so it's been a busy week. Constantly building and trying to grow the business and doing all the exciting parts like accounts.
So what is your business, Mr. Max?
So my business, so I rent, various different things to building sites, mostly spaces. So like shipping containers, portable toilets, a nice place for you to go, do whatever you got to do on site.
Oh, yeah.
And welfare units, which is effectively like a mixture between the two. So it's like a shipping container on wheels, and they've got like a little kitchen area and toilet and generator in the back. Not very exciting, but it's quite an interesting industry to be in. Do you know what I mean? Because we deal with all types of people. From we had a job for a studio this week, so they were shooting in a film shoot, or shall I say? They were shooting in a wood not too far away.
Cool.
Which was just quite interesting. It was nice to see what those guys were up to, and then all the way down to we do sort of events and festivals and bits and bobs like that, and as well as building sites. So it's it's an interesting. I don't know if I'll say fun. I mean, I'll find the good side in it, and I enjoy what I do.
That's all that matters, then, mate.
Exactly. But it's growing, building. We're getting there. So I can't complain. It's good.
I like it, mate. It's very good. So I know what people will probably notice moving forward is that I'm very present in the moment, and I do absolutely zero prep work for these interactions here, whereas Max is very fastidious.
Yes.
And he likes a bit of prep.
I need to plan for these things.
You need to plan for everything. What have you got there, my friend? What have you got in your notepad?
Well, so unfortunately, off the cuff, I haven't got much.
Okay.
Other than the introduction, which we've already done.
Mm-hmm.
That is about as far as I got to today.
I thought the introduction was good, mate.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, that's all I've got basically. So
Okay.
That's me done now.
Okay, I like it. I was listening to this guy. Oh yeah, he was talking about a book that Winston Churchill wrote, which is something to do with like the art of ungentlemanly warfare.
Go on.
And he was saying that during the World War II, we would not, for so long, or we were losing at that point because we were not stooped to things that were considered dishonourable tactics.
Yes, of course.
Quite
rightly.
Well, depends how you sort. Depends. I think they had quite a high level of what they considered dishonourable tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were to have a scorched earth policy, like if you were to go through like I don't know Ypres or whatever in France, and you're going around burning all the crops as you go past, then yeah, that's pretty nasty. Like there's no need for that. But if it's like, oh, I'm not gonna make my men walk or crawl through the mud because they're English gentlemen, they don't need to be crawling through the mud to get through enemy lines. I think okay, come on.
Yeah, they probably can't handle that.
No, well I don't know because the World War II thing's interesting as a dynamic for the English military hierarchy because certainly in World War One, they fought contemporary Western societies in the same way that they'd fought during the English colonial days.
And who wrote that?
So that was Winston Churchill.
Oh, it was actually written by Winston
Yeah. But the World War One generals, they thought, oh, we can use the same tactics that we use against indigenous pygmies. We can use that against people who have better weapons than us, surely. And that's why they just had such a horrific attrition rate.
It's the Germans.
Well, the Germans just mowed them down because the generals back in, lovely, comfortable HQ were just like, oh yeah, just stand up and walk across there, it'll be fine. And they just got absolutely destroyed, and they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over.
Well, they were very well organised, weren't they?
The Germans?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But luckily we were saved by the Americans in the end.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, Charlie Chaplin.
Exactly, as they say. We didn't do anything for 4 years. We just sat there.
Through no fault of the common soldiery, just through the ineptitude and arrogance of the command staff, as it were.
Yeah. But we had to do what we had to do. We fought for it.
Mm.
I mean, being English, obviously we think we were the factor that won the war.
Oh yeah.
Obviously for the Americans, they think they were the factor that won the war. But again, who knows about politics? It was 80 years ago. No idea.
It was...
well, the end was 73 years ago.
You're talking about World War II now?
77 years ago.
You're talking about World War II or World War One?
World War Two.
Okay, I was talking about World War One.
Oh,
But the trench warfare.
oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
I'm on way ahead of that.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
30 years.
Do you know the World War One's when they invented the flamethrower?
Was it? Well, the Germans?
I don't know if it was Germans. It would make sense because it was used in trench warfare because it was basically when people were walking across, they get to like halfway point and these bunkers would just pop up and the flamethrower would come out and just hose everyone down.
And I suppose anybody, if they came across a trench,
yeah,
they'd
perfect.
spray it down into
Literally,
the trench.
yeah. That's a horrific way to go.
Yeah.
Just getting crisped alive.
Yeah, I'd definitely rather be shot.
Or like in the foot or something.
Probably right between the eyes.
There you go.
The best way to go. Best way to go.
Can't imagine there are actually many good ways to go.
No, definitely not drowning.
No.
I think that's probably the worst. Or falling.
Falling would be fine, mate. Wait, hang on. How far are we falling and onto what?
I suppose, yeah, it's there's only going to be a millisecond when you hit the ground, isn't there?
Yeah, you're not going to feel anything.
But if you're falling, say 10,000 feet,
yeah,
the whole way down, the whole way down, you know what's coming.
Have you been skydiving?
I've been skydiving before.
Okay, what do you think of it?
Yeah, it was great fun.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
I loved it. Yeah,
it was good. Well, I've always liked roller coasters and stuff like that. I've been, pretty fearless throughout my life. But then when it wasn't till the plane left the ground where it all sort of hit me, and I was like, right, there is only one way down.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they would take me down in the plane, but they're not going to let me, are they?
Could be a good way to go.
But yeah, no, so I thought, you got to do it now.
Yeah.
You got to jump out. And then, have you been skydiving?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's great fun, isn't it? And then I don't know about you, but I experienced when I physically fell out of the plane. It was like I was trying to grab onto something.
Really?
Obviously, there's nothing there, is it? Just like a natural reaction, like you fall in, you try and grab for something.
Damn.
Obviously, after about 4 seconds, you realise, well, there was nothing there, so you just got to let it happen, which was good.
Yeah. Where did you go? What was it?
So it was over in Oxford somewhere. And I would love to do, or at the time, as I was falling, I was thinking, I've got to do this again. But when the parachute came out, we've all seen these YouTube videos, haven't we? Where the parachute is like spinning around, and I'm thinking, I'm spinning around here. This is not supposed to happen. And then luckily he like sort of twisted it slightly, and we came out, and then we were dead straight.
Nice.
And I totally forgot about it until it hit the ground, or landed on the ground. And then it was when the guy who you meet on the ground, the guy who I was strapped to said, "Oh yeah, we got a twist on there." Then it all sort of hit me again. I thought, was I lucky there? Was that a common occurrence, or do I really want to do this again? Did I just cheat death?
I mean, maybe. There's something that you're jumping out of a plane.
Yeah, but it was good fun. I liked it. It's exhilarating, isn't it?
It's awesome. How many people were in the plane with you?
So I think there was 5.
Oh, okay, so not that many.
6. No, it was only a small plane.
Oh, okay.
How about you?
So I went to see my cousin in Dubai in 2016.
Oh wow, okay.
So he surprised me with that on one of the days, and we were there, and there was some dude from where is he from? This guy was from Cambridge, and that's what he does for a living out there, and I was like, all right, small world. And so I was strapped to him.
Yeah.
So people who haven't been skydiving, you're basically strapped to some dude's dick, and you're basically just sat on his lap and just
But that's the awkward thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're in the plane, you really feel like a child.
You're literally just manhandling. You're sat on this dude.
Sat on this bloke's lap. You've never met before. You met him 45 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And now
your life
in his hands.
and you're tied to him. Yeah. But they smack. The plane is probably this room was probably longer than the plane was, that we were all in. The bit that we were all sat in. Obviously, the plane itself's longer, but the actual I don't know what you call them. It's that small, the crew bit, whatever. Yeah. We were sort of proper squeezed in there, so we're all there like sardines. But how they got us was they basically so they scuttle you to the front. So we were right in the middle. So I was fourth. So you obviously see the people go, and then it's your turn, and you scuttle you across like this, and he's like, "Okay, on 3, we're gonna go," and he goes 1, 2, jumps out, and I was so he jumps on 2, so you can't stop him or something.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
It is so good. Yeah, but then you're just rocketing out of this fucking 14,000 feet plane.
No, it's good fun, but I think I probably prefer to be on the ground these days.
Oh, I'm doing that again. That shit's good.
Well, especially as you did it in Dubai. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, it was nuts.
I was, not that the English countryside isn't beautiful, but it's not quite the Burj Al Arab, and seeing all the islands and all that type of stuff in Dubai at probably 35-degree heat as well. Yeah,
it was lovely. Well, sorry, mate. We'll go back there. You can come with me, and we'll do it from there, so you get a more unique experience.
Yes, I may watch this time. Rather than get involved.
Look, if you die, it's a great way to go, because you're basically surrogate flying.
Well, it probably brings me on to my next point. I've read it a long time ago, but I was listening to the podcast called I can't remember who it's by, but it's called Mind Hacking, and it's about how over time you develop habits and general loops of either feelings or fears or situations. When you go into people's natural reactions. It's based on a mental loop that they build up, and my point on that is I've developed this mental loop after that first experience. When it comes to thinking about it or doing another one, it's how can I avoid it? Which is probably not a good thing, in the way we discuss various other things. It's not how we should push ourselves forward, is it?
In general, no. When it comes to specifically about skydiving, if you never do it again, it's no loss.
Well, yeah, and that's the loop I come back to. Is like, come on, Max, you got to face your fears. You got to get on with it. You got to do
True.
it.
So as the principle, or that as a case in point in surrogate for something else, then yes.
And more for me, it's more frustrating because I had no fear of it before, which is weird because I had no fear of doing it. Was fine whilst I was doing it, and then sort of at the end, I thought, is it worth the risk?
For you, for fear, what? I'm not going to say what makes you scared, but how. I'm not going to ask specifically for what things make you fearful, but how does something make you fearful? I'm curious to know.
That's an interesting point. I mean, if I can relate it back to that, is because I had no fear going into it. I think the fear developed when I realised, because I hadn't thought about any of the downsides really before I was doing it, and then it wasn't till, as I said, we hit the ground, and it really all hit me that could have gone a lot worse. And even in terms of, flying, I never used to be fearful of flying. And I wouldn't say I'm fearful of flying. I'll get on a plane and I'll be absolutely fine. But the most dangerous times are obviously on takeoff and landing. So during takeoff and landing, I'm always a bit like, until we get off the ground, and then I'm like, okay, that's fine, I'm done. And then I think it's more, which is probably the same with most people, is you overthink the negatives or anticipate that they're going to happen more than they probably will do.
Do you find that, because from the situation you described there, there was no sort of like future aspect to it there, which is unusual to hear from you, because it's more like you were just entirely in the moment, so it's like you didn't even give yourself time to generate any fear of it.
But in terms of
well, because as much as I've known you of late, you are very like planning and considering the future and possible eventualities and stuff. But from what you're telling me from that, you had no fear beforehand because you actually hadn't spent any time thinking about it, because you hadn't dwelled in the future. So you actually were dwelling in the present. Yes. And then obviously the present up until the actual moment of jumping out of a plane or getting on the bloody thing is not going to be scary.
And then Max came back to me.
He was someone else at that point.
He came back to me and realised, is it really worth the risks based on, what else you want to do in your life?
And let me guess, this thought occurred to you while you were in the plane on the way up?
No.
Okay.
It was for a split second as the parachute was sort of twisting. It was only like one twist. It wasn't like, the crazy ones we see them all going mad. It was just sort of going around a little bit. And then when he got out, I was like, oh, that's fine. But it's when he hit the ground and, he spoke to the other bloke and was like, oh, we've got a twist on there. That's when I thought I was quite lucky.
Got you, because it could have been way worse.
Because it could have been way worse, exactly, yeah. So I thought, well, I've done my bit. I've given it a go. It's never gonna be as exciting as that first one. So should I maybe just explore other avenues of excitement next time?
Interesting. No, I'm only asking because with myself, if I'm aware of something like a certain degree in advance, I'm more scared than if it's gonna happen like right now.
Yeah.
Because it's the anticipation and the awareness of I have X happening in the future at some point. I've been more scared of. What more scared of? I've been more scared of like future exams than I have of a couple of occasions where I've nearly like died. Because it happens in the moment of shit, I'm almost losing control of the car.
Yeah,
but I'm
not
not
instant.
Yeah, but I'm not scared at all because it's just happening and you just deal with it. And then you get the adrenaline crash afterwards. Yeah. Whereas for an exam, I'm way more scared of that than I was for this.
Well, yeah, no, I relate to that in terms of, especially with an exam, it's coming. For however long that it's coming. So you've got that constant thought and anticipation. And I don't think it's, especially for exams, it's more the fear of failing, I assume. That, if you're going to ace it, then I'm sure there'd be some element of excitement going into it.
Yeah.
Now, from my side of things, I was always on the fear element of the exams. But, you have to just prepare and push yourself through as much as you can, kind of.
Well, that's the thing with, because it's nervousness, it's anticipation of it. There's like that mantra of I'm not scared, I'm excited.
Well, I suppose for me, and I don't know how it was like for yourself, I never really wanted to go to uni or was ever going to pursue that avenue. So the results and the exams that I got, although it was nice to have on a piece of paper and it's quite handy for the first couple of jobs, it wasn't imperative to what I was looking to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
But I can imagine if you had to go to, or you were wanting to go to university to be a doctor or various different careers like that, then the fear factor would be a lot more, because you're thinking, well, I need to ace these, or I need to at least do well in these so I can progress to the next examination levels.
Yeah, the stakes are higher, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's more stakes involved, whereas I didn't really have, in terms of exams, those stakes. But related back to the skydiving, the stakes were my life and the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, who knows?
But again, that's still interesting in that, the fear you only had afterwards. Like, for me, when I was scared of it when I was like in the plane and I saw people going and I was like, oh shit. Just like, I can see why they have you in tandem.
Yeah.
Partly because they can control it, and B, it's like they're in full control of you, so that if you freak out, you can't choose to stay, you have to go.
And you're, as you say, you're relinquishing full control to somebody else, and you're putting your life in their hands.
Yeah.
I don't think I was fearful on the way up. I think I was the anxiousness kicked in on the way up.
Yeah.
And then it was fear when I realised on the ground.
Fair play, mate.
But no, it was good. It was good. But whether I'll do it again is a different story.
We'll find something else. Maybe bull riding. Let's do that.
Bull riding. I mean, that sounds like it'd be great fun.
No, it fucking wouldn't.
But have you seen it? You watch it on? I think it's on eSports, isn't it?
Oh god, you'll find anywhere. Yeah.
And they just get bucked up. It's quite fun.
Or you see them when they get like gored.
Yeah, that's
like the matals. I'm like, that is horrible. But equally, I'm there like, like what you signed up for, mate.
Well, exactly. And in bullfighting, they do that a lot, obviously, in Spain. And obviously, the whole point is that the bullfighter will inevitably kill the bull in the end, which I didn't realise till I was about 14, 15, and I thought,
yeah, it's nasty, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really. Again, my own opinion. They can do what they want with their lives, but I just don't really think you should be seeing that as entertainment. But then when they get gored, it's kind of like, yes. Yeah.
I'm on the ball side every time.
Back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
'Cause I'm trying to remember what way around it is.
The matador, that's what they call them, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what way around it is. It's that the bull dies from, I think it's blood loss, because it's like death by 1,000 cuts kind of thing.
Well, they try and get them in the heart, don't they? That's like the matadors, like the bullseye basically. And they try and get.
Might be pardon the pun.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's where it came from.
Could be. The bullseye. Yeah, if you had an archery target and you always actually get the ball in the eye, try and get them out. Maybe. That's pretty nice though, because I can't remember whether it might be because the ball basically gets like herded on and it's stuck in this little like metal like cage, and I think while they're in that they start like stabbing it.
Oh, do they?
To get it all like angry and like crazy and stuff, so they drive it nuts. But I think they just like, and then when it runs out, I think it's got these little spears sticking out and stuff like that. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah,
it's barbaric that still carry on with that shit.
Yeah, again, I don't think I'd want to go and see it, but
nope, not interested.
To their own. Maybe if you put paedophiles in there, switch the bull with paedophiles,
or the bull versus a paedophile.
The bull versus a paedophile. I think that'd be fantastic.
That would be great.
Spain, get on it. I'll come and see that.
Pedo bulls. The pedo bull fight.
Yeah. Basically, you just put a load of pedos in a ring with a load of bulls.
Yeah.
That'd be brilliant.
I'm good for that. That's like a Ahmed the Dead Terrorist bit. He's just like, sometimes when I get bored, I like to get two priests and throw in a small boy and watch them fight to the death.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Such a good bit, though.
It is funny.
That's so funny. Watch them fight to the death.
Yeah. Because they would.
Hell yeah. Yeah, institutionalized. That's not good. You still get the cognitive dissonance from some people who just refuse to acknowledge its existence from the Catholic Church.
Well, again, we've got to be careful what we say, especially about the Catholic Church.
Okay, we're not saying anything. All you guys have to do is watch Spotlight. It's a film with Mark Ruffalo and Michael Keaton. That's all you got to do. Spotlight.
And again, I'm sure it's not all of them.
No, of course not.
Maybe like a small faction.
Yeah. Well, the fucked up part is right at the end of that film, they list all the priests that they find who did this.
Oh, did they?
And one of them was the guy who baptized my sister.
Really?
No joke.
What?
Because they say like the town and then the name, and I was like,
What? It said Reading?
yeah.
Oh, shit. That is mad.
Creepy.
This is
We're doing well for our first episode. We're hitting some heavy topics here, dude.
bullfighting on torpedoes. It's not a bad little transition, really, is it?
You made the transition. You said it was a good idea.
Well,
Which it is a good idea.
Yeah, I think crowdfunding that. Crowdfunding to do bull pedo fighting or pedo bullfighting, whichever one. We'll come up with a name later on.
Yeah. We'll probably do something a clever word association.
But the concept is already there.
I think it's it has merit.
And I think a lot of people would pay to see that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I would.
Yeah, I would. And then the bull gets, a commendation or a medal or something.
Yeah. Well, you probably won't want a medal, but
I don't know.
maybe some lady cows or something. I don't really know. What do bulls want?
Cows.
Kill pedos.
That is the driving imperative of any bull is to kill a pedo.
Which I think, is fair play to them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway. From that.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about doing the Tough Mudder. No, not the Tough Mudder.
Oh, Spartan race.
Spartan race.
Yes, indeed.
When
sir.
is the next one?
First one will be in May time, but they'll do throughout the summer as well. Yeah. So it might make more sense to do something like the June or July one.
Yeah. And so for anybody that hasn't done a Spartan race or heard of a Spartan race before, it's effectively like an adult's assault course.
Hell yeah.
Isn't it? And it's great fun. So they tend to rent out like farms or woodlands or something like that?
Well, I mean, local to us here, there was there's literally just the other side of the river in Henley. You had Windsor Great Park. You had the Lookout, for example.
Where's that?
Lookouts in Bagshot. So it's like from Bracknell down that way, right next to Coral Reef.
Yes, I think is that the one I did? Well, that's probably the one I did. It was over that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
In the woodlands.
Yeah, woodlands. Yeah. So they just loads of places.
And they put various different like assault courses and equipment and stuff like that out. And I think so. There's 3 tiers, isn't there?
They're adding more tiers. So from what we have here in the UK, we've got a stadium one, which is the first one, which is like 3 to 5k. You've got the sprint, which is 5 to 8k and 15 obstacles. You've got the super, which is 10 to 16 kilometers and 30 obstacles. You've got the beast, which is 20 to 24 kilometers and like 45 obstacles. And then there's the ultra, which is 50 kilometers and like 100 obstacles to do.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I've done all of them except for the ultra.
I was going to say, what's that like, 32 miles?
Yeah, what a master kilometers is like 1.6, is that right?
So it's more than a marathon plus all the obstacles.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that one.
Well, we worked out, because me and my friend, who's also called Matt, we must have done 10 in total now. But we worked out, it was the last one we did, which was the beast, was 24 kilometers, and that took us 5 hours. So the ultra should take us 10.
Wow. But they are good fun, but I'm not sure about 10 hours long.
Got to practice for it.
And and that's 10 hours straight. You don't have a break or anything.
No, you never have a break in any of these. I mean, you can do it. Granted, the for the 5 hours for the beast, we weren't running the whole time.
Yeah.
So we're running probably about half of it, and the rest of it you're just
jog between.
Well, you're just knackered. You're just waterlogged. You're covered in mud. Stupidly, the first beast we did, I got a new pair of shoes the day before.
Good idea. Always.
Yeah, dumb idea. And there was me being like, oh, these are Reebok. Reebok sponsors this place. They got to be great. And so I ran them, and within the first half an hour, I had blisters like something I'd never seen.
Dirt and everything in them.
It was horrible. We had to basically pack my heels with grass, just to stop the pain, because it was fucking horrible.
Yeah. But no, definitely recommend. Definitely, if you get an opportunity, jump on one.
100%. They are brilliant. Is that you or me?
That's me.
Okay, good.
But I put it on silent. So
Okay, I was going to say, because I should be coming through, because I put that on airplane mode.
Good. Well, maybe I should have done the same.
Yeah, maybe next time. The founder of Spartan Race is a guy called Joe DeSena, who's written some really good books just about the whole principle. But it's a fascinating transition. Because
So let me get that down.
Joe DeSena.
To read.
Yeah, he's got a Spartan Fit and I can't remember the other one's called. It's DeSena, DE_SENA. But he's an ex Wall Street broker turned fitness lunatic, and he doesn't do the only way he works out is running and kettlebells. That's it.
Is that it?
That's it. Nothing else.
Well, I think is it Joe Rogan? He swears by kettlebells, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, Rogan got them from Pavel Tatsalin, who's this Russian guy who basically brought kettlebells to the West, effectively. Who has a very interesting exercise style, but for DeSena, he's like, I just carry like a 15 kilo kettlebell with me everywhere I go. Something like that. Have we figured out what that sound is?
We haven't, no. There's a banging going on from above us, which there shouldn't be.
For like the last 3 weeks or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Well, it's quite routine as well. So it's like you're very slowly putting together a shelf or something.
It's gonna be like a Jeffrey Dahmer up there or something, isn't it?
Oh, fair play.
Probably. And a load of barrels.
Filled with like hydrochloric acid or something.
Yeah.
That's like a Breaking Bad thing that I figured that out from.
What? Get rid of bodies?
That's how they get rid of bodies, yeah.
Yeah.
Just these barrels are getting rid of stuff. Have you ever seen Dexter?
I haven't seen Dexter. No. People have spoken about it quite a lot, like it's good, but I've never
It's good.
got around to watching it.
So the premise of Dexter is that he's a pathologist, so a guy who figures out how people died and cuts them up and shit.
So he knows how to not get caught. As
Literally, he knows how to dispose of bodies, and but he goes after criminals. So he works for the police.
Oh, so he kills
the killers, and then people are like, "Oh, we found all these bodies, but we don't know who they are because their prints are gone and stuff like that." And he's like, "I wonder."
I wonder who.
But if my memory's right, the opening episode is about this guy who was murdered because someone replaced the water in his pool with hydrochloric acid.
Oh Jesus!
So he like jumped in and just melted.
Must have been a lot of hydrochloric acid.
It's a big pool.
It's been expensive.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, how do you get so much?
It's just a TV show, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole load of far-fetched shit in it, but it's good. Real good show.
Anyway,
do you know that hydrochloric acid is what's in your stomach? So that's what breaks down food.
Is that where you got it from?
Yeah, you just go everyone just to spit loads. Cut out some more stomach. I'll have a bit of that.
Sounds good. Some strange old discoveries out there, isn't there?
Well, strange old discoveries right here. So that's what everyone's here for.
That is very true.
You're learning weird shit you didn't realise you'd learn.
Or that you ever thought you would need.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't particularly want to know this, but it's just here.
And it'll be there.
Yeah. These weird little nuggets of information just in my head.
Was it you that were saying today about the Concorde? They're trying to bring that back.
Yeah. So they're not calling it Concorde. It's a completely different thing, but they're trying to do
It's probably not a good idea to call it Concorde.
No, considering the explosive nature of the previous iteration. But they want to do another transatlantic flight, so from here back to the States again.
Interesting. And then, so why don't they choose private jets?
Well, I don't know. I know so little about the difference in speed because I imagine it's to do a private jet but on a bigger scale, so that people like a bigger ones can do it for.
Commercial.
But for the Concorde, like how much difference was there in price between that and a normal plane?
Well, so, technically, I've been on a Concorde.
Oh yeah.
When my mum was pregnant, they went on. Obviously, with me, they went on a transatlantic flight.
Okay.
So technically, I've travelled at supersonic speed.
And
Is it supersonic? Ultrasonic?
Mm.
Definitely not ultrasonic.
I've no idea.
It's got to be supersonic.
I just remember it being stupidly fast. Like you'd get there in a time zone technically before you left.
Yeah, and they'd have the booms, wouldn't they?
Yeah, break the sound barrier.
That's
yeah.
it.
So it's supersonic. Yeah.
Madness. But we'll never get to experience. Well,
We might do. We'll see what
may
happens.
get to experience it again.
We'll see what happens with it there.
Have you seen those? They're doing that like Iron Man suit thing at the moment.
What do you mean?
I think it's in the army.
Mm.
But like Iron Man's got the jetpacks on his like hands and feet.
Yeah, yeah.
They're pretty much like got that nailed. There's a guy who did it from, I think he went from Calais to Dover
What?
or vice versa
What?
over the last couple of weeks. Yeah,
Fuck.
and I think his average speed was something like 150 kilometers an hour or something like
Whoa.
that. Can you imagine getting halfway there and you start running out of fuel? or
You're like,
something
you dicks.
that? That's mad.
Oh, mate. Damn, that's crazy. Because I remember seeing the water jetpacks, which is basically you're in the water.
Yeah.
But it basically, there's like a big pipe that has to
still got the
stay in the
hose, yeah.
water, and it pushes it through. So that's where you get, it's basically just like a big funnel, effectively. So it just pushes the water through so fast that it propels you out of it.
Well, yeah, no, so have you been to Nikki Beach
Mm-mm.
in Spain? There's, Nikki Beach is like quite a high class, like beach bar resort thing. I think they got them in Dubai, they got them, all over the place now. But I think the one in Spain was the original.
Mm.
And I was there once, and they had a jetpack, the guy doing it in the pool, and I'm thinking,
In the pool?
yeah, and I'm like, the pool's not that big. Like, all you
Yeah.
have to do is like miss, or that pipe comes loose, or something like that.
Yeah, you're fucked, yeah.
And you're gonna just splat. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you're in the sea, okay, that's fine. A little bit
Yeah,
different. but-
or a lake.
yeah, or a lake. But
Yeah.
by the pool, I just
No,
thought
that sounds like a bad
that's
idea.
a terrible idea. Especially when there's lots of drink and champagne flowing.
Nice.
Not for me, that.
I'd do it just to say I need a bigger expanse of
course,
water that
yeah.
way.
No, I'd give it a go, 100%. Just not in a small pool.
No, it's like a jet ski. I need to try a jet ski.
You never been jet skiing before?
Nah, they look so much fun.
It's good fun. You don't want to get hit by one, but
Well, I can imagine, seeing how fast they go.
yeah, don't fall off it. It'll be okay. But other than that, no, yeah, they're great fun. What is it? Or jet skis, I think there's two types in there. Jet ski is actually one you stand on,
Mm.
and you have that. I've been on is it a Sea-Doo or something like that? The ones you actually sit down on?
I thought they were just brands.
Maybe,
Like a jacuzzi and a hot tub. It's basically the same thing, but one's a brand and one's the item.
probably.
Okay.
Something like that.
Apparently Sea-Doos are awesome. You did Sea-Doo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Well, it was a
awesome.
sit-down jet ski, whatever that is.
I would just imagine you'd be able to do both. Like if you can stand up on some and then sit down. But you'd have a seat either way, you just get a choice.
Well, I've seen it with the stand-up ones,
Mm.
like in swimming pools again, like the geezer like doing backflips.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, that makes
obviously-
sense to be
he's
standing on that.
obviously, pretty adept at it.
Mm.
I would like to give it a go, but I'd like to practice
Yeah, that would be cool.
in the sea.
But you've got to lean, you stand right on the tail of it, and that's how you get the flip out of it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing as those lunatics who do that, like the X Games nutcases, where they'll
X
do
Games is great fun. Though.
X Games is insane, but they've got the same thing with the motocross thing, but it's
Yeah.
so it's X Games but with a like motocross bike.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's the same shit, and it's just fucking mental.
Yeah, I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah,
Travis Pastrana, he was
yeah.
he was a good lad. Triple backflip.
Mm-hmm.
How that's even possible?
Well, everyone's saw the Tony Hawk 920, and they were like, right, let's apply it to other shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's do it on a motorbike.
Yeah.
Well, the one, a backflip. Physically,
Mm.
it makes sense that it's quite possible, but there's two, flips in, especially on motocross, which I can't get my head around. Obviously, it's possible because I'm watching them do it on TV.
Yeah.
But one's a front flip
Yeah.
because they got to go up and then just basically slam the brakes on
Mm-hmm.
and then make sure they're still going quick enough to be able to get over and then land.
Mm-hmm.
But then the second one is a 360.
Mm.
So effectively, they just whip it all the way around. So you go up, go sideways,
Yes.
go all the way around. And that's,
So are they going sideways as well, or just the bike?
so they go with the bike.
Well, the one I saw the other day, which was the craziest one, is he did a backflip, but it was a backflip where he and the bike separate, like
So
completely.
the
So they're
bike-
both spinning,
Oh, Jesus.
but he lets go and they spin together, and then he gets back on it as well. And I was just like, "You're so dead if you get that wrong. You're so
Yeah.
dead."
I'm surprised you don't hear more about like death and
I
stuff
mean,
like that.
I'm sure you do, or that. No, I'm not saying I'm sure you do. I'm sure there are, but that's real bad press for them.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. They
So-
probably quell that down as much as they can.
Mm. Yeah, that's another level of humour to want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I did a skydive once.
Don't know if you heard.
Yeah. I think that was about as far as we'll go. I used to ride motorbikes and stuff like that, but I wasn't.
I've never done a motorbike. I've done a quad bike. That's about it.
Oh, it's great fun.
Yeah.
Motorbikes are great fun. You do like jumps and stuff like that, but I never. Maybe a little whip. That was about it.
Was it like a road bike or like a
No, so a motocross bike.
cool? Yeah, see that makes more sense. That's fun. Yeah.
So that was Good fun. Mostly like tearing across fields and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So where I grew up, we've had a lot of land, so we used to go around there.
Mm-hmm.
Which was great fun. But people used to get annoyed with the noise. Can't imagine why.
Yeah, I don't know why. People need to go over that.
Yeah. Get over themselves, basically. Sort of ruining our fun.
It's like you're having a nice afternoon out and you start complaining about it. What's the problem?
Exactly. Typical old people, eh?
Just can't get people these days.
But I would probably be that person these days, moaning about the noise.
Yeah, you come out. I reckon you'd have like a shotgun, but then you just be like, you start firing it, and people be like, "We're all the way over here. You can't get us." Kind of thing.
Yeah. Go a bit closer.
Yeah.
Dickhead.
Yeah, literally. They zoom past.
No, but maybe we should get on to something, a bit more serious.
Excuse me, we've covered balls fighting paedophiles. We've hit some pretty serious notes here, buddy.
That, to be fair, we need to get that going.
We do.
That's got to be done.
Yeah, I think so.
That's on the list.
Yeah.
We'll hit that up. So what do we call, like, EA Sports or something like that?
We make a video game of it.
Yeah. X Games.
Like, no, because
you'd have all, like, Gary Glitter and all those people.
Yeah, because then you get to pick your pedo.
Yeah,
pick your pedo.
Exactly. That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
Jimmy Savile, Gary Glitter. You know Gary Glitter's out of prison now?
Oh, no. What's that about?
Mental. So's Bill Cosby. He was out like 6 months ago.
So, I mean, what actually happened with the Bill Cosby thing? Like, was he a pedo or did he just like...
No, he wasn't a pedo. So what was known in the industry is that Bill Cosby liked to roofie women and have sex with them.
Why though? I've never understood that, especially from
no idea.
A chap like himself. He's probably quite influential. Like,
I don't understand. I don't want to understand.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
I can only imagine it's something to do with, like, if you're that beloved and you've got your own TV show, you've got, like, do you have family? I don't know. But if you've got, like, you probably have women throwing themselves at you.
Yeah.
You know, it's, with anything, it's, if things are just easy to attain, there's less value in them.
Yeah.
So you try to, like, that's difficult to drug someone and then have your way with them. That's a hard thing to do. So that's maybe that's the appeal for him.
Yeah, so it's like the excitement of
doing something you shouldn't do.
Get away with it. Well, it's it's not the same, but on the same lines as like rock stars and stuff like that. You think, like, why do they get on all sorts of drugs and heroin and stuff like that? And it's it's because obviously they're used to performing in front of 10, 20, 100,000 people, and then he comes off stage and it's like, well, that adrenaline or whatever the energy must be getting from that, like, it's hard to recreate. And I suppose they all just get, well, not all of them, but many of them just get caught up in heroin and all that type of stuff, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. Fame is fame will screw you up.
It must be difficult, especially I watched the documentary on Oasis the other day, which is really interesting.
It's really good.
I think most people, especially in the UK, no matter who you are, what faction you come from, everybody loves Oasis, don't they? Everyone can appreciate their music and what they've done and where they come from. But it was basically, as soon as they got famous, it killed the band, because it was like, it all started becoming about the money and all that type of stuff rather than the music. And I think that's ultimately what pushed Noel and Liam away from each other, because it got from a point of being a band to the point of, like, well, I'm the lead man here. I'm running this. Yeah.
Well, it's a combination of that, and then in fact you put two brothers together, who grew up in a very tumultuous household. Yeah, we're always fighting each other. And then Liam just dives into drugs. Yeah,
well, I think they were all on it, but I think he was just more open.
Well,
because Noel quite famously came out and said that I take drugs. Who cares?
Or as a case of Liam couldn't handle it as well.
Yeah,
because if Noel was on drugs, at least he turned up on time.
True, very true.
And he could actually perform.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he would always perform.
Always, yeah.
But I didn't realise that one of their first gigs in America, I don't think they actually knew, but I think they tried to get some coke or something like that, and it ended up being like crystal meth. They were up for like 3 days, like, and then they had a gig. And one of the parts was they've all got the on the floor they've got their
set list.
Yeah, their set list.
Yeah,
but everyone had a different set list. So the drummer was playing something. He was singing one song.
Oh
Noel
my
was
God.
playing guitar for the other, and it was the bass was playing a different song. And I think for the first 3 songs, they all, were playing a completely different song, and they knew it, but they couldn't, because they were all still fucked up.
Yeah.
They couldn't work it out and make it work.
See, unfortunately, I can relate to that because in my band, I've got myself as the drummer, I've got Caleb's the bassist, Robbie's the lead singer, and Max the guitarist. Caleb and I stay. So I don't drink at all when I'm playing. Caleb has a drink, then the other 2 just get shit faced. The problem was that if they get shit faced and then we had it before, we were playing a pub in Wickham, and they got obliterated because it was like a free bar, and all of us had our own set lists. We had all the set lists, wrote it out. We each had our own copy, and they just started picking random songs. So me and Caleb were like, "What the what?" So there's 2 of us trying to desperately figure out what's going on, and then while these 2 are just like off in their own little world,
Seeing what they want.
and we were just like, Jesus Christ.
Must be good fun though.
It is, but it's just like
Chaos.
yeah, because at that point that was 5 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we're nowhere near as tight as we are now.
Yeah.
Whereas now you could just name a song and we're like, cool, done.
Yeah.
Whereas back then we're like, you're only familiar enough with the songs up to that point because they were in that order. So you're like, okay, I've done this, therefore this follows after this and that after that. Whereas it's like, okay, it wasn't exactly like, oh, I know I can drop it of a hat.
Yeah.
Whereas now you just name a song, it's like, let's go.
Yeah, they love it. But it must be interesting travelling around, going to all the different places.
It's very cool.
And it was again going back to the Oasis thing. He said that's when they enjoyed it the most, like when they had no money.
Yep.
And they had to. I think we discussed it last time. Is they made most of their tunes or their best music when I think you had this similar thing, didn't you? Where they had a gig and it was like, well, you got to play, all your own music. Mm-hmm. And they were like, shit, we've only got like 3 songs. Yeah. How are we going to play, a 90-minute set with 3 songs? Yeah. And then you were talking about it the other day, is that you just, once you've got that pressure, it forces you to, get together.
Yeah, to do it,
and crack on and get the work done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Parkinson's law.
So it is.
It's called Parkinson's law, is that work expands to film the time available.
Yes, we did discuss that as well. If you give yourself a year to do something,
it'll get done in a year.
It'll get done in a year, but if you give yourself a couple of weeks, then you'll get it done. Mm-hmm. Let's get that one on the list, Parkinson's law.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating stuff.
And that's what I was trying to do, in terms of goals and stuff like that is, I think it was Elon Musk. Was it Elon Musk? And he basically said, try and set a goal. Instead of setting yourself a year to do a goal, set yourself a goal that will take you a year, but then try and achieve it in a month. And then it's basically like, well, 90% of the time you're going to fail. However, you'll be like a stupid amount further in that 1 month than you would be if you gave yourself a whole year to do it.
I like it, because the goal is not to achieve it. The goal is to get way further ahead than you would otherwise be.
Exactly, yeah. And that's the concept, and that's what I was trying to do. Is I tend to set myself ridiculous goals and then try and achieve them as quickly as possible. Set a date and then go for it. I'd say 20-25% of the time you hit the goal, and then you're like, shit, like, how have I done that? Like, how have I managed to nail it that quickly? Or even do it before, at a time when you wouldn't have thought you'd even been able to get to that level. But then again, once you get there and you think, oh well, I'm not where I wanted to be, but I am much further than I would have been if I'd, as you say, give myself a year. That's a good. So you said that's Parkinson's law, is it? Parkinson's
law, yeah. Not to be confused with Parkinson's.
No, that's not quite as
stable.
No, it was the word I was looking for. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, kind of on shaky ground with that one.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm here all day.
But then I suppose that probably ties back to what we were just talking about on your when I was on your podcast about the 10x rule from Grant Cardone, because again he pushes that there's no point trying to achieve 2 times more. You may as well push forward to do 10 times more, and then it's actually forcing you that much further forward.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you've got to start again a lot quicker.
I'm trying to think if this relates, but it's something like it's easier to achieve something that's further away than something that's relatively close because you're more motivated to get something further away. So the analogy being that it is faster to drive somewhere 2 miles than to walk somewhere 1. So the 1 mile is objectively easy to do because it's a short distance to cover. But you're like, it's so easy, I can just walk it. But it's just like, but it's so easy. It's like, what's the point? Whereas like you go something that's 2 miles away, it's like, oh, I have to, you know what? I've got to make a bit more effort to get over there. You know what? I'm going to drive, and because you have to make that bit more effort, you actually get there quicker.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Because it's like, with me, I need an extraneous, rather an external variable or an external deadline.
To force you over that line.
Exactly. I need to be put in a place that is uncomfortable and with a little bit of fear, and then I'll get stuff done. Because otherwise, nothing will happen.
No, and then, I found, especially over the last couple of years, I'm constantly putting myself in that position, and I finally get to that goal or something like that, and I get out of it, and I'm like, oh, why did I do that to myself? Why have I put myself in that situation? And then you think, oh, over the next day or so, you're like, oh well, I achieved that, I've done this, and then the next day or so after that, you're like, right, let's go again.
Yep.
And then halfway through again, you're thinking, why have I done this?
Yeah.
Why have I done this? But then again, you get to the end and you think it was all worth it.
Yeah, and it's the incremental effects and benefits you get over time. So in the middle of it, you're not necessarily enjoying it as you're going on. You're probably enjoying the process, in the fact that you're like, oh, like I am getting stuff done, but you're probably not actually. The actual feelings you're getting are not fun at the time because you're like, oh, I'm always tired. I'm barely sleeping. I'm working really hard. I'm really focused. I'm maybe a little bit stressed. But then once it's passed off, you're like, damn, I managed to persevere through that. I know it was difficult, but I did it. And then look at these results. Like, yeah. And
does that tie back to the conversation we had about stoicism? And me saying again. There we go. Trying to get that out of the vocabulary.
That's fine. For anyone listening, can you just have play a bit of game of bingo with yourself every time Max says carry on?
Yeah, if you watch the first podcast between Matt and I on
Harping on. There you go.
On.
Very nice.
I think within the first 10 minutes, I think I got to about 40, maybe 45.
That's pretty good.
It was, it's pretty good. And when we watched it back, Matt didn't even notice. But when I was watching it, all I could hear was,
It's because you're obviously listening to yourself. Well, for the first time, imagine that's the first time you've heard yourself.
First time I ever listened to myself. So it's very strange.
Yeah, it's an unusual phenomenon to be able to actually hear yourself, A, in real time, and then B, to watch it back, and then with full control over like stopping, fast forwarding, volume, all that sort of stuff. It's fascinating.
It was a strange concept.
It's a very weird feeling the first time. People don't really appreciate or understand how odd it is unless you do it.
But I think it works. I think we got that.
Oh yeah, it's very very revealing. Specifically, particularly because you just said you noticed your faux pas of saying all the time, but you realised, oh, I either sound like this, I either sound really good, or you know what, I can sound better like this, or damn, do I really sound that nasal? I think I sound really nasal. I think I sound like this. Is how I come out.
Yeah.
Or like the first ever podcast I did, I was speaking too loudly, I was rushing, I was interrupting people, and I was like, listening to it back, I'm like, you dick, like that is awful.
But again, that ties back to the conversation we had, is if you do something and you don't hate it, you don't really change it, do you? If you see something you're really embarrassed by, you're like, right, I can't be doing that. Can't be having that.
Yeah, obviously, where necessary it needs to be, because you're always improving and growing.
Yeah. But no, so I was touching back on so I think it was it Bill Gates that said most people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 5 years.
Interesting. Okay.
And that probably ties back to the exponential growth that we spoke about, is that, in the first year you think, you're probably going to get to here. And the growth is, very minimal. But if you persevere and push through, then you get to that point where you have that exponential growth in probably the last 18 months, where you achieve, more than you obviously achieved in the first 2.5 years, 3.5 years.
Yes.
You didn't even catch that.
It's the level of trust I place in you, buddy.
Exactly.
Why would you do that to me? Why would you, intentionally mislead me?
Oh, that wasn't intentional. That was just a mistake, but I recovered.
Yeah, no one noticed.
No. Well, my brother would. As soon as that came out of my mouth, he'd know.
What is Sam doing anyway, if I may ask?
So he works for my father's business. So he's salesman for a local window firm.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing really well. No, he's enjoying it.
Nice.
Again, so similar to my business. It's not that exciting, but it's more. I think with, again, our conversation, we said, like, there's various different things you can do in life. You can either do a job you enjoy, but it's unlikely, at least in the short to medium term, that you're going to really earn the type of money you'd want to gain freedom, depending on what your iteration or what you class as freedom. From my side of things, I'm just of the understanding that I need to accrue as much money as possible so that you have that freedom and that flexibility to be able to, do whatever you want, go travelling, stop working, again. It depends whatever you want. I mean, I'm sure my concept would be completely different to yours. Whereas for me, I want to be able to travel and not work, basically.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, a note for you, stop caveating every sentence about your job with, it's not that exciting.
How do you mean?
Don't need to say that. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter if it's exciting or not. Because, stating it out loud implies that you think society would expect you to have something exciting, so you're almost apologising in advance for that, which you never need to fucking do that. And also, it's something that is working. Yeah. It's on the path to that you want to do.
That gives me the excitement, you know what I mean?
There you go. So it's with the sort of industry you're in or the sort of service you're providing, it is fucking irrelevant what it is. It could be data security, it could be cyber security, it could be fences, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. It's the principle that matters, which is the money you see for the cash flow for the acquisition, and then the return on investment every month, and the yields, and the customer service, and the recruitment, and the growing the team, and growing your influence in the area, and all that sort of stuff. Never say again, it's not that exciting.
And building a brand and building something is.
There you go.
I think we spoke before. I'm not sure if it's human nature or male's nature or just various or certain people's nature is. I feel like we always want to have some type of, or leave this world with some type of imprint, or at least having achieved something.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked me the other day, what's my biggest fear? And I thought about it a lot because I never really had thought about it a lot up until that question was asked. And without sounding too cliche, I don't really fear anything. I don't feel death. I fear. I came up with the conclusion that I probably fear the most dying without having necessarily achieved something, or done something for my family, or left some type of imprint on the world, in a positive manner. It doesn't have to be money or anything like that, but be more like have built something that will better my family, or my community, or anything like that. Like I've thought a lot recently with if when I attain a certain level of success, you can only buy so many cars, houses, watches, all those types of things. Like what you can put in. And obviously we come from a worker town, Reading, which over the last 15, 20 years since we've been growing up has massively changed. But before then, it was all
biscuit factories, chalk mines, clay mines.
Exactly, all just proper working class,
Mm-hmm.
and the town resembled that, but also in terms of the buildings and all things like that were all
Mm-hmm.
sort of a bit haggard and just weren't particularly attractive. And I thought it'd be great at some point if I could build a building or invest in a certain project or something like that, which would have actual use case for for the people in the community, whether it's the younger generation, because we don't have any, we speak to your parents. They used to have youth clubs and all those types of stuff, which would keep a lot of people out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have those anymore, do they?
Mm.
They don't exist. Or if they do, you have to pay for them,
Mhm.
which most of the time the people that need those can't afford to. So it'd be great to be able to build something like that again for the local community, so it can get properly utilised.
Mm. That's great inspiration, mate. That's a proper legacy there. I like it.
Well, again, you can only spend so much money on yourself.
Mm.
After a while, it gets to a point where it's not really enjoyable.
Mm. Well, with the purchasing of anything selfishly, it's the buying that's the fun part,
Exactly.
not the having.
No.
But interestingly, there was these studies I was listening to, and they were saying that it is clinically proven that you get a greater dopamine release from the giving of gifts rather than the
100%.
receiving of, which is fascinating.
And that's something that I've obviously only noticed recently, since I've started pushing more that way. Is I'll buy something for myself, as you say, and you won't necessarily enjoy it that much, but instead I'll go out for a meal with the family, or do this, or buy someone this, or help somebody out with a certain project or something like that, and it gives you much more fulfillment and energy than just wasting it on yourself. It's much more enjoyable to see your hard work helping someone else.
I think to your point about leaving something behind, I think everyone's should have an impact on the world where you create something, and not just human life, because that's a whole nother topic. But you need to be able to create something, whether it's this, whether it's painting, whether it's a building for the youth of the future to enjoy and have a place to go to where they can socialize and be with each other. Whatever it is, you can justify. I think it's justified to be spending money on yourself in that endeavor because it's creative, because you're doing something with it. It's not just I want to buy this off-white t-shirt for 250 quid, which is just so vacuous and impermanent. It's ridiculous. Whereas if you're like, I spent 250 quid on an easel, canvas, paints, brushes, I was like, okay, that's something different. Or I maxed out my credit card on tattoos equipment because that's really what I want to do. And it's like, fair play.
Yeah, if you enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's you enjoy it and it's creative, which come hand in hand effectively, because you're not going to create something you don't enjoy.
And you can provide a space or something like that for other people to gain enjoyment as well.
Yeah, because you'd want anything creative really shouldn't be done in a vacuum. I don't think. I can understand something as
Expand.
I understand, if some people would paint by numbers, for example, because that's really calming. But I guess that's kind of irrelevant because it's not really creating, because you're following the blueprint or something else. Well, no, it is actually. You're transforming something from black and white to the myriad of colours from it. But I think in a case of, something creative that you do should be shared with other people, even if just one other person. To do something entirely just for yourself, I think
it's wasted, isn't it?
I think it's important to do it for yourself, absolutely, but that's not the only reason. You're doing it for yourself and to share with other people, because other people could really like it, or B, you could be like, this is it's an expression of yourself. It's an expression of you. If you were to be a painter, a singer, like if me and the boys write a song, we don't write a song for us and never show it to the world. We show it to the world because
of course, and share
it's for them. It's what it's all for. It's all for the audience.
Well, I think, going back to your point on showing it for yourself, I think that's what that's what generates confidence, is you physically going out there and doing things and performing to the point where, you know, we had a conversation about it last time, is people get depressed and stuff like that because they have no purpose. And obviously in this realm we call life, we get to choose what our purpose is. But I think you need to go out there and experience failure. I think the fear of failure is probably what holds most people back, is they fear to make mistakes, whether that's ingrained in us in the, you know, school system. But you've got to go out there and make all these mistakes to, one, build your confidence, and two, work out for yourself in your own mental mind how to build up some resilience. And then with resilience comes confidence in your ability. And then with confidence you can help push that, or help other people to either enjoy or perform, or you can inspire that into other people. Which again was probably the main doctrines of most of the world's religions, or spirituality, which obviously over time with any system, the more people get involved and the more power, etc., they tend to get, what's the word?
Corrupted.
I was going to say molested, but I was not.
It's because you said religion, mate.
Exactly.
You're like Catholic Church boys.
Yeah.
What?
But yeah, you know, they all big systems like that tend to get corrupted. You know, even to, again, we won't go too far into politics because we don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, that's why we should go into it. Go on, touch lightly.
But I was going to say, you know, with probably most governments and even councils, because these days there are so many people involved in each sort of faction and stage of it, and they're too easily corrupted. And again, when there's lots of money involved, people get greedy, and then, you know, most people see pound signs rather than the goal is at heart. And it all just changes the way things are supposed to be, which is, you know, it's just a shame, really. Do you know what I mean? When we've got all these fantastic system in place, and again, that's why I always make a point of saying we don't know about politics and not to talk, because you know, you don't know when we hear the news story or the headline, that's all we hear. We don't hear all of the things that were going into it. We hear the end result. Now, we don't hear any of the hurdles or the issues that, you know, the politicians or whoever it is, the Prime Minister, had to overcome to get to that point. You know, they quite often it comes down to like a couple of decisions, and they've got to actually choose the best of you know, a bad scenario. So they don't have, I'm sure most of them would want a different ending, but they're in charge and they've got to choose one of them. All probably a handful of ones that are pretty useless. But one of them's got to be chosen. Do you know what I mean?
I'm enjoying this, mate. Keep going. I like it.
It's, you know, the world's a complicated place, and you know, that's one thing I learned from, you know, doing my business, is a lot of the time you're stuck in between two shit decisions, and you've got to make one of them to go forward, or, you know, someone's twisting your arm for this, or someone's not paying you for that, and then, you know, you've got to choose between what, you know, if you're going to employ someone else, or if you're going to get another van, or if you're going to expand, or if you're going to have to, you know, luckily I haven't had to come up against this yet, but, you know, if you have to cut someone or something like that, you know, nobody wants to do it. But again, for what's the analogy I'm looking for? You know, you do it with trees and stuff like that. Whatever, you cut off
it was like leprosy. You'll amputate the limb.
Yeah, before it spreads to everything else. And sometimes it's got to be done, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
But you know, you see it with the royal family. You know, a big sort of empire like that which can't be nice for them or whoever's in charge of it, but they've effectively it's our business. At the end of the day, isn't it? It's a huge corporation, and they've effectively got to keep that running.
Yep.
Because it's been running through generations. And are you going to let the Andrews of the world, bring you down, or are you going to have to just, cut them off and shun them? And unfortunately, that tends to be the route they go down, which they probably don't want, but they haven't got a choice.
Yeah, I mean, well, fortunately, that's a rare example of someone we don't want any connotations or interactions with, or any links with. Even if it were to be a royal family member, you can't be having any interaction with a person like that. But yeah, you're right. The world's complicated. Particularly to your point about having to make the shit decisions. We complain about whatever's happening by, there's so many bloody roadworks. Can't get anywhere because it just double the amount of time because the roadworks everywhere. They're not really doing anything. You complain about all that sort of stuff. But we don't know the reasons behind that. We know we can roughly work out what the roadwork's for, but we don't know why it's all happening at once. It could be for it has to be done. We have to spend this money now, like with councils, for example. Whereas if we don't spend it, we don't get the same amount next year. So we have to do that. Therefore, it's a lesser evil right now to be inconvenienced rather than, we don't inconvenience you now, but take the roadworks as an example. We don't do this work now. People are fine, but then that makes the roads worse. Yeah. So then we have to do it for longer and do more work next year or next time it actually needs to be done. But by that point, because we didn't spend the money this time around, we'd have less money to do it. So we can't do it.
I do get that point. It's because they can't do all the roadworks at the beginning of the year and spend all the money, because if they need the money throughout the year, then basically they're screwed, aren't they?
And also, if you did all of them at one go, the roads would just be shut.
Yeah, they'd be screwed. I mean, in terms of like, if they spent all the money they need to do on the works at the beginning of the year, and then something drastically went wrong, then they'd have no money and they'd be in the shit basically. So that it makes sense that they wait right to the end.
The financial year, yeah.
Exactly. One, to spend the money so they make sure they get the same budget next year. But also, you've got to keep something in reserve in case something goes wrong, haven't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially with those, obviously, they're much larger organisations than you or I have ever had to manage yet. I
was listening to this guy earlier called Peter Diamandis, whatever. What did he do? He got I think it was a master's degree in biology from Stanford, while at the same time moonlighting getting his aerospace engineering degree from MIT. And so he went on from that and has just made company after company after company. It's interesting to just listen to this guy. He was just like, I can just keeps doing all this stuff because he's got all these interests. He's like, okay, I'm going to set this one up over here, and they're going to look into longevity. I'm going to set this one up over here because I love aerospace travel and all sorts of stuff. And it's it was so interesting because it's, again, tie things together of the point you're making about the size of the big corporations and stuff that we haven't dealt with yet, but equally to your point of from him, for example, if he had the same business as you, that would just be one of many.
Yeah, and that's what I would like to do when I push forward. And I think the sort of phrase came to mind. The passion for creation is once you start building something and you see it taking off and you see how it helps the people you employ, their families, the community around, providing a good product or service that it will benefit everybody that interacts with it, then it becomes kind of addictive. And that takes away, it makes you realise how the consumer in you, because we're all really conditioned to be consumers these days, is it takes away from that consumerism, because you think, well, can I build this, or can I add value here, or can I improve this part of where I live or the people around? I can buy something for myself and only I'll enjoy it, or I can build something for someone else and 100,000 people will enjoy it.
Well, it makes the trials and tribulations you go through it worth it.
Exactly. But I think the world, although we can only talk from our perspective, there's, especially since our parents' generation, there's many great things that have changed in the future. It's all during that time span, in terms of work and freedom and bits and bobs like that. But then again, there's the adverse effect, which I guess is the yin and yang, isn't it? You're always going to have the yin and yang in any situation. Is that, especially with mobile phones and stuff like these days, everything's tracked, everything's recorded.
Yep.
You followed around wherever you go, which again has its benefits because, well, they never end up actually working. But if someone goes missing or anything like that, you should be really able to find them. But then obviously the downside is you're tracked everywhere you go and everything you do, which is not a problem until you have someone like a tyrannical dictator or organisation come into power or take over, and then you're kind of screwed. And that's what worries me a lot at the moment is, people always say, "Oh, how did Hitler get away with all these atrocities?" And it's he didn't start by coming out straight away and was like, "Right, let's kill all the Jews," and everyone was like, "Yes, let's do it. We hate Jews." No, it was like he came into a position, and then incrementally and slowly over the course of a number of years, injected these different policies, and and maybe the people that came before him were injecting these policies before he got there, which allowed him the platform to be able to come in, change a few bits, and then basically overnight or over the course of a couple of months, just push the doctrine to get what he wanted done.
Well, Hitler was very, very popular, so he was voted into position.
Exactly, yeah.
And he, up until the negative policies he put in, he added a shit ton of benefit to Germany. He basically made Germany the powerhouse that it remains to this day. He founded Volkswagen. He
and didn't he make it illegal for anyone to smoke?
Oh, he must have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard that, which, when they talk about all the negative connotations from it does kind of make sense.
Yeah.
If it is true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he founded the Volkswagen. He created an endless amount of jobs. He reinstigated national pride in Germany after, getting the shit whipped out of them in World War One. And, they were humiliated from the... Damn it. What is it? Treaty of Versailles, I believe.
That's it, yeah.
Well, they had to pay reparations and all that. So, and he's the most gifted orator of all time.
Yeah, and he was, obviously I don't speak German, but from what I read is, as you say, he was inspirational.
Very inspirational.
To the whole of his country, which, as you said, had been embarrassed through the reparations and being downtrodden by the rest of Europe. But Matt, I've got to wrap it up.
All good, brother.
But any final points?
No, I think that's a good start.
I think we've done well. I enjoyed it. Many more to come. But again, guys, this has been Just Discourse, where we, just chat about any random things that have happened or we enjoy talking about in everyday life. So if you enjoyed it, smash the like button, subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
We'll keep further plugins coming.
Exactly.
See you later, guys.
Take care.